I got my sunglasses on because I'm on vacation in Miami, Florida. I'll be home shortly and back to my regular schedule of streaming and making Marvel Strike Force videos. I kind of miss it a little bit. So we're gonna get into something that's interesting. I saw this on Reddit and I think it's gonna lead us into a much more nuanced conversation about the difference between turn meter speed fill or turn meter reduction versus speed stat increase, and also about positive effects, speed up and slow, how they affect the overall speed and which characters go first, because this is a turn-based game and whichever character goes first or whoever's going the fastest is generally going to allow for the most favorable outcome when you have complete control over that, right? So the question right here is, which Emma Frost is the good one? And they're talking about X-Men Emma Frost, which we call the new Emma, or the OG Emma, which is the one that affects the speed on the opposing team. And this is what makes both of the characters good in their own way. But to answer the question very quickly, we first have to have a quick message from our sponsor, which is Raid Shadow Legends. Boy, I got you on that one there. I have a Raid Shadow Legends channel. I've been making videos for a year now. I love the game, and they're doing some really cool things right now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So they're doing this very great promotion right now for new players. So like, if you scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description, you'll essentially be getting 3 legendaries and 3 epics for free. Best time ever to start playing Raid Shadow Legends. So Michelangelo, which I just unlocked yesterday, you get for logging in for 7 days. This is great. I'm currently working on Donatello. That's a whole nother story, a very elaborate process. I'm having a ton of fun doing it. Also, when you first start, you get Crowdo Fox Hunter right from the start. And then you get Ugo, who's an epic support champion at level 10, Fane at level 20, Deacon Armstrong at level 40. Deacon and Ugo are very good. And then in the first 24 hours, use promo code Monkey King to get Sun Wukong, who's my personal favorite legendary champion, absolutely. And then again, Michelangelo, by logging in for the first 7 days. On the 7th day, you'll get him. Now, I got to say this about Raid Shadow Legends. They have a ton of positive momentum. They're doing these collabs right here with Paramount. They do a lot of fun things. The player base is growing. The game is absolutely hot right now and thriving. So I think it's a great time to start playing. Now let's get into the question about which one is better. And I'm just gonna say that the teams that they are on is largely gonna dictate that specific answer. Both of them are good. But I'm gonna say that OG Emma Frost, because she is on the Hellfire Club team, she's going to be the best character right now, the more important of the two, because the Hellfire Club team does raids. Now, the other Emma, the new Emma, Emma Frost X-Men, we don't know really what to call her. Everybody calls her something different. She's part of the Astral team, and Astral team is very good, specifically in Battle World and in Alliance War. Now, there's a change right now in Battle World. We're going from Battle World 1.0 to Battle World 2.0. We don't know what 2.0 is going to look like, but it's going to have a new boss, Sentry, and I'm not sure how good Astral is going to be there. We just don't know. And so if we're making the comparison on which game mode is more important, Raids versus Alliance War, most people will tell you it's hands down Raids. Now, both characters have their merits, and we're going to specifically change this conversation to about what is the difference between speed bar, turn meter fill, positive effects, speed on the team, the speed stat, because there's a lot of confusion I've noticed, and I have found that specifically the Franklin kit has created a lot of problems in understanding how it works, because it says fill speed bar and it says enemies cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects. Well, how come that right there doesn't affect my opponent getting speed bar?
How? How? I don't know.
Well, we have to talk about it. So let's talk about OG Emma first. And she has been a very important character for a long time in the game. Apply minus 10% speed to all enemies. So she's not lowering the turn meter on the other team. she's lowering the speed. So if the guy on the other side of the battle has a speed of 100, she's going to drop that down by 10% and make it, just for rounding purposes, 90. That's kind of a big deal because speed bar, turn meter, whoever goes first is going to likely determine the positive outcome for you in this game. This game is all about who goes first. It really is. I mean, that's just the nature of turn-based games. Whoever goes first generally wins. And so this is a very powerful effect that for right now can only be offset and countered by very specific words. I'm going to give a couple examples of that. But the first one is going to be Apocalypse, and that's why Apocalypse is currently useful in the arena. The speed of this character in each ally can only be reduced by slow. And we're going to talk about why that does not affect turn meter reduction. Turn meter is different than speed. Speed of this character in each ally can only be reduced slow. So that actually counteracts OG Emma's passive. And there's other characters also, like Nightcrawler. The speed of this character in each ally can only be reduced by slow. Now there's some other things that are mentioned right here. Gain speed up and 2 charge. We're going to talk about this gain speed up. And then it says all throughout the kill, fill speed bar. Those are very different than this actual stat of the speed of the character. Like my initial example, if it's 100, it gets dropped down to 90. If it's something in the kit says the speed of the characters goes up by 10%, then it goes to 110. That is different than fill speed bar. That is different than speed up. Now the speed up mechanic is very easy to understand. As far as I'm concerned, speed up just says increase speed by 50%. And this is a separate mechanic altogether than the other two. Same thing with slow, decrease speed by 50%. So what does OG Emma say? OG Emma is talking about the speed stat, not turn meter fill. Non-mythic enemies cannot have their speed increased by positive effects and rage. So this is the speed. So I'll give you some very specific examples of kits of characters and teams that have their speed stat increased. It's very narrow and the wording is very specific. This is super confusing and annoying as far as I'm concerned. So this is Man-Thing, and this affects Night Stalkers. It says gain 20% speed. So that's speed stat. Night Stalker allies gain 20% speed. There's something similar for Orcus inside of the Nimrod. We also have that on Odin right here. When charged, gain 100% speed. That is completely shut down by OG Emma. Non-mythic enemies cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects and rage. Now, it says non-mythic, so that actually does not apply to Odin because Odin is a mythic. There you go. But this is where it gets confusing, is because of Franklin. Franklin has basically the same mechanic right here. If this character is 2 more Fantastic Four MCU allies, enemies cannot have their speed increased except for by positive effects. So the positive effect would be what we talked about right here, the speed up and or slow. Okay, enemies cannot have their speed increased by positive effects. Now the strange thing is his kit actually does a lot of that, especially in Arena, until this character completes a turn, gain 5% speed. Fantastic Four allies gain 5% speed. This character has 2 more Fantastic MCU allies, gain additional 45% speed for self and all Fantastic Four allies. In Arena, if this character has 2 more Fantastic Four MCU allies, all other allies gain an additional 50% speed. So the irony of this is that if you have Franklin on each side, this gets canceled out, which makes Franklin an almost vital member of Arena. Now this does not affect this right here, fill speed bar. That is not the same as speed increase or a positive effect. It's like a separate thing altogether that is not affected by this line right here, which makes it super confusing. There's a difference between speed increase and speed bar. So when we see turn meter reduction or fill speed bar, that is different than speed increase. Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just the way it works. So the best example of speed bar increase would be on Super Scroll, which is basically the reason why he's so good is that he has this, whenever an enemy gains a positive effect, or when this character or an ally gains a negative effect, I'll just skip over to the last part, fill. So that's the key word there, fill this character's speed bar by 10%. This gets shut down by a very different type of wording than what is found in Franklin or OG Emma. It's not the same. This right here is not shut down by Emma or Franklin. What it is shut down by is something like this. In Gladiator, when Gladiator is accompanied by, let's see what it is. Well, I'll just read it. In Arena, while this character's health is 50% or more, enemies cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies. This does not apply to speed bar gained through normal means. So this right here specifically shuts down Super Scroll, but it does not shut down what's going on with Franklin. So this has become very confusing because we have characters like Super Scroll and Oath, where Oath says on spawn, on offense, fill speed bar by 5% for self and all allies. Is similar to the King passive, right? Fill speed bar is shut down by in Arena by characters like Gladiator. Inside of Crucible, characters like Captain Britain. And there's a lot more examples than this. And then inside of Alliance War, shut down by Quasar. So this is Quasar right here. While this character's health is 50% or more, enemies cannot fill speed bar for themselves or allies. Now, Quasar is a little bit different because he also says the speed of all characters can only be altered by positive and negative effects. So that is shutting down all the kinds other than the positive effects, which is going to be speed up and slow. And then there are certain kits say characters can't gain slow and opposing characters can't gain speed up. So this has created a situation where we have three very different ways of affecting the turn order and the speed of characters with very specific counters, making it very, very confusing. I don't know if I explained all of this right or if I explained it in an easy way to understand. Put it down in the comment section if you have more questions. Maybe myself or others can answer your questions on that. But I think Franklin has brought this issue to the forefront from what I can see. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Bye for now.